Good day, YouTube. Today is Saturday. It's the 13th of January, 2018. And we're warming up the Ford this morning. It's up on the project list. Got to get some stuff done to it today. This is my 1976 Ford. It's an F250. It's a camper special. It was custom ordered from Ford by a local businessman. And it is one of one in this color. Let me see if I can find the VIN tag here. Anyway, if the camera will focus, you can see under color. Excuse me. It is blank. I also have the build sheet for it, and under color it says custom. So actually, I can't even find the formula for this color. So this is going in for paint on Tuesday. Today is Saturday, so I have to this weekend get this thing ready to go to the paint shop, and they're going to have to scan the color and match the color because we don't know what this is. Ford had, I think I counted 155 color choices in 1976. This was not one of them. How you get a truck like this done from Ford in a color they don't paint anything else in, I don't know. But the local businessman that ordered this truck new must have had maybe a previous truck. I'm guessing it was the same color as the truck he had previously. I don't know. But I can tell you the color of the trim on his house matched this truck, so he liked this color. I bought this truck from an estate. It had been sitting probably since the early 90s. I was told this was this gentleman's pride and joy. Of course, he passed. And it had 38,862 original miles on it. It has 42 something on it now, because I've driven it for a couple years. It is truly original miles. It's been sitting since the early 90s. I always tell by the foot pedals and by the upholstery. So this is the original upholstery. The driver's side looked as good as the passenger side, but it was fairly rotten. When I started driving it, it didn't last very long. So, dash is perfect. Headliner's got some waves in it because of the moisture, I suspect. I did put an LED light in it. Look at that. I left the AM radio because I don't want to change the originality of it. I just put an FM converter on it and good to go. So I've done a lot of things to this truck, and now it's time for paint. A little bit history on what the truck is. It's a 460 factory 4-barrel, factory air, dual tanks, the dual piston front disc brakes. The gentleman had a camper. These are factory Ford camper tie downs. I see they put air shocks on it. Dual tanks. It has the draw out rear bumper. It's a 3 to 4 foot extension bumper. I've not extended it out yet. In its current condition, that mud flap will actually keep it from doing that. The mud flap is bolted to the truck and the bumper, and that's one thing I need to correct today, because I need to get paint underneath that. So I'm going to hot knife that off and take those bolts out of the body. I'll leave the holes, but take the bolts out. What else we're going to do with the truck today? There's rust on the underside of the hood. There's no rust on this truck anywhere. Something got underneath this hood and is rotting it out. So I've got another hood. I don't know if you can see it way over there in front of the, yeah, that blue hood right there. I bought that a year and a half ago. It's been sitting up there. So today we're going to swap the hood. Got to get rid of that CB antenna. Other things I'd like to do is I put a new carburetor on this thing, but I never ran a wire out for the choke, so I've had to roll the choke back so it doesn't choke. I'm sure they'd appreciate a choke on this, so it'd be nice to get that done today and tomorrow. I have today and tomorrow to work on this. I need to reorder like the back light lens or two. I'm just going to look around and see what isn't going to look right once it's painted. I'll look at those camper special emblems online. The F250 emblems are good enough to leave. I'm probably going to go over these nuts. I thought about taking this all apart and putting all stainless stuff on it. I think for now I'm going to just paint this with that rust sergeant I've done a review on, convert that rust, and paint those nuts. I just don't want to get into that. I'm pretty sure something's going to break, and I'm not going to have the time to fix it right. So I'm taking it to a paint shop. My dad's truck's in being painted right now. I'm going to pick his up on Tuesday, drop this one off. I'm going to get a windshield replaced. So they're going to do the prep work, pull the glass, paint the truck, and then put the glass back in, put the trim back on. So we're getting that done as well. I have a new brake booster and master cylinder because this master cylinder is leaking just a little bit, and I hope to change that this weekend. If we get all of that work done, the hood is a top priority. Those rear bolts I just showed you on those mud flaps, second priority, because that's what affects getting paint on it. Obviously get that stupid antenna off of there. If it all gets done this weekend, I'd like to come back in, put the truck up on the lift a little bit, and paint all the insets on the hubcaps. This truck came with 16.5 rims, and it still has its original unused spare tire under it. I threw those away and bought 16-inch factory wheels, put the factory hubcaps back on, and put just a decent set of Cooper tires on it. And obviously I hauled my vintage camper on this, so there we go. So I need to kick the Scooby van out of the barn right now so I can pull this in. My goal is to be able to change this hood using my lift, because I'm just by myself. I might get my wife down here to help a little bit, but those are heavy hoods. It's fairly tall. I'm going to try and rig it off my lift and maybe off the rafters in the barn. So I'll go get rigs moved around, get set up, and I'll check back with you. So I got the truck in. I got it in the bay where my lift is, and come up with actually a pretty cool way to pull this off using the lift. Of course, I haven't pulled it yet, but I'm saying it's going to work. So I just used, so first off, I have a 9,000 pound, it's a rotary commercial lift. It's a, what they call an offset lift, which means that the posts are turned, maybe at a 45-degree angle or something. And that was developed to put the car vehicle farther back so that when the rig is on the lift, you can open the door. So it has these door bumpers here on the column, but when the vehicle is actually on the lift, it puts the vehicle back far enough so you can get the door open and get in and out. That's why the offset lift was developed. You could still get straight on lifts, offset lifts, in-ground lifts, above-ground lifts. This was a commercial lift. I bought it from a company that does installations of lifts when new dealerships go in, or when they change out their lifts or upgrade or change or do all that. He often gets lifts that were taken out, and he sells them. So I got on his waiting list for like a year, and he got a lift and he gave me a call. It was a little more complicated than that, but anyway, and then I got my lift and he came out and installed it. So it's friggin' awesome. How's that? It's just cool. So I got the rear arms supporting underneath the hood. I had to clear the hinges on both sides, but that should be good. And then I used the front arms. I just put these pads up and just cut a board to catch the front of the hood. So this should be awesome. So I should be able to get this one right off and then drag this thing out of here, and then get the other one, put it right back on by setting it on the lift, bring it up, drive the truck underneath it, and go. So I'll stick you up on the stand, and then I'll get all the bolts loose and show you this thing coming off if it works like I think it will work. I think we'll be good to go. Doing a hood replacement by myself. So I got 3 of the 4 bolts out. We're going to pull the last bolt and see if it falls to the ground, or if I can raise it up and get the truck out from underneath it so I can find a bolt. There we go. And I got it loose. That's 4 bolts. Let's go up a little. We got to go up enough to clear the hinge so we can back the truck out. Hope it don't fall. Want to hold it. I guess that clears. Let's drive it out. Took the truck out crooked so I could get this hood out of here and get the new one in. Down periscope. It's about 41 degrees this morning, so the hydraulic fluid in the lift is a little cold, so it's a little slow. I'm going to show you this hood. I think the battery might have exploded one day in its life or something, but because the battery's on this side. Let me get around here so the sun's not messing with it, but it's totally rotted out on this side and all the way down. It's gotten so much worse too in the 2 years that I've had this. It pretty much sits outside. So let me get this one all off the lift. I'll show you my new hood. It's not new, it's a used hood, but it's in great shape. The truck that this was on was just painted, and I understand it was parked at the guy's house, and somebody went off the road and hit the guy's truck while it was parked. And anyway, he was parting it out. I got the hood for, oh shoot, I can never remember. It wasn't that bad. It was like $100 or something. But it's a great hood. It's better than what I have. There's no dings in it at all. And I've got a little trailer so I can roll it around. So I just need to drag this one out of here and hand truck it out of here or something. We'll get the new one in and on the lift, and we'll reverse the process. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, we got the new hood up on the lift. Let's pull the truck back in and see if we can put it back together. You know what? I just noticed that the ground strap is still on this hood. It'd be easier to remove that. Now mine was on with a Phillips screw. This one's on with a 4-inch nut driver. What's it doing? I like this screw better anyway. Now we'll put the truck in. I made that. I mean, that's pretty darn close. I gotta show you. Look at that. I'm like dead on. Pretty close. Bragging a little. Alright. Back in the stand. Just got a few more inches ahead. Wow, some days are just good. I swear I can put the bolts in right there. I can get in there to see them. Okay, let me look on this side. I'll move you around here a little bit. Now that the sun is blocked, maybe the light will be okay. Let's go for that. I have to get my step. Gotta get my steps right here. How I got away with it for years without that little stuff. Look at that. Right in place. And it started. Now let's start the other side. That's just too easy. I don't care how many people I might have next time to change a hood. I'm doing it this way. I threw the blanket up there in case it slipped or something. Not even doing any damage. However, it's getting painted and the windshield's being replaced anyway. But why trash it? Still got to align the hood. That'll be fun. Okay, we got to come down just a little bit. Coming down. See what that does for us. Gonna have to come down some more. Can't quite reach the threads. Come on. Okay, I'm going to get these all in and snugged up, and we'll check back with you a little bit, and we'll go for alignment. Well, I think we got her adjusted. Let me tell you, it took a lot longer than to adjust the hood than it did to change the hood. Oh man, kind of a pain. There's a lot of adjustments on a hood like this. But anyway, and they never fit all that good in the first place, but we got the gaps as good as they're going to get. And believe me, I've spent some time with it to get it to fit as good as it will. But happy with that. Happy with that. All the way down, all the way around. let me show you real quick. If you're about to embark on a hood swap on one of these, really any of the like 67 through 79, I think I have almost exactly the same hinges. Let me grab a light because there's no light in here. So you obviously have some adjustment on that part of the hinge, both forwards and backwards, and a little bit side to side. And then your adjustments, more forward and back, are 1, 2, 3 bolts. And what I ended up doing to get this side to come down was loosen those bolts and pick up on the very front of the hood to adjust this up. And it actually dropped this side down. So I've spent a little bit of time getting this thing dialed in, but I'm happy with the result. It's a pretty decent hood that I bought used. Real Ford steel, all that. So we're good to go on that. Next, might as well leave it open. Next, I bought a master cylinder and power brake booster more than a year ago for this project, because that one is old and is leaking somewhere. I think it just comes out of the lid, but anyway, it's old and ugly, and it's time that it be replaced. So that's next. We're going to dig into that, and let's do it. I hope. I've never had it out of the box, so I hope what I bought is correct. I guess I'll check that before I start ripping and tearing into this thing. But if anybody noticed that I had the air cleaner powder coated and bought the decal for it back when I got this thing. Anyway, I just thought that'd be cool. So let's get the brake booster out and make sure it's right, and then we'll start tearing this thing out of here. Well, there's the master cylinder brake booster that I bought, almost 2 years ago. It's been in the box on the shelf, and it isn't even close. And so I bought it on eBay. I went to my item purchase on eBay, and that is exactly what I bought. I bought the wrong one. It says it fits, but it doesn't fit. The brake booster is at least 2 inches diameter bigger than mine, which probably means it's going to hit the valve cover. The brake lines come out the wrong side of the master cylinder, and the rod is clearly too short. So, anybody need a master cylinder for what I believe is a mid to late 70s F250, maybe even F150, probably with a 351 engine. That's what I remember those being in. It is not going to fit a big block engine. So, that sucks, because it certainly can't return it. $130 gone. So we're not going to be able to replace that today. I think this thing is mostly just leaking out the cap. I don't think I have any other issues. It wasn't really that low, but I did a better job cleaning the gasket. We'll go from there. So I guess we'll move on to some smaller things. Let's get the mud flaps detached from the body and in the back, and we'll go from there. So the guy that owned this truck originally, I'm second owner, put some mud flaps on the back of this thing. And when he did that, he not only attached them to the bumper, he attached them to the body. But when he bought this truck, the dealer and others could install these draw-out rear bumpers. So he had that put on, because originally he had a camper. He had Ford factory camper tie-downs put on the truck as well, and they're on the build sheet. But attaching the mud flap to the bumper and the body will eliminate the ability to draw that bumper out at all. And and I'm going to have this thing painted, so I need to get that rubber off the body so it can be painted, and I can draw this bumper out if I ever choose to. So I'm going to try the hot knife. I've been warming it up. See if I can do this. See if it'll cut it. So far, so good. It's slow. but it's pretty thick material and it's old and crusty, so we're just taking our time. Smells good. That's smoking. I'm moving the blade just to keep a hot surface there. Just a little patience. We're gonna get through it. Trying to keep right on the top of the bumper there. I should take those bolts out of the bumper too, one at a time. Go get some better bolts. Or replace the bolts and paint the bumper or something today. It's slow, but it's going. Again, there's no teeth on this hot knife, but you'll take the heat out of the knife when you're in the rubber, so you keep moving it. It'll find a warmer spot. Should cut there. Come on, baby. Keep on cutting. We're getting there. We're finding a rhythm there. Ooh, it smells. We're down to the last inch. Will we be completely successful? Yes, we will. There we go. Ooh, I saw a spark. Haha. Okay, we got her cut. Now we'll see if we can get some of them bolts out of there. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? Hot knife, yeah. I'll turn this around. I've had this on a couple of the videos, but that's what this thing is. Picked it up at a yard sale. Come on, focus. There we go. Turn it around this side. Read the details. Made in Germany. 105 watts. So I've used this extensively for cutting styrofoam insulation in the step van. Ooh, can you see the smoke? And what a useful tool it is. So I'll get this other side cut, and we'll get some tools out, see if we can get all them bolts out of there. We'll get the bolts all out of the body and throw that piece away there, and then take these out one at a time and put a bolt in that isn't quite so rusty. Check back with you a little bit. Well, it's like over 50 degrees in the shop today. Not too bad for mid-January. So I've been working on removing these mud flap bolts and stuff. I didn't think it'd be easy. This thing's been on there forever. And here's what I ended up doing. Sorry for the finger in the camera. So these here, I haven't done this side yet, were carriage bolts. So what I did was welded some 1/4-inch bolts to the head of the carriage bolt, because there's no other way to hold the head, and then used a wrench to hold the heads while I wrenched these things off of there. And of course they're been there forever and they were pretty cruddy. I even twisted off one of the 1/4-inch bolts that I welded on. That's how tough they were, and then eventually it twisted off, which is the quickest way to get them off. In fact, a couple of them twisted off. But anyway, that is the method that I used for getting those out of there. The other ones that are just to the bumper weren't so bad. I got new ones in. That's going to leave the holes. I'm just going to leave the holes. I'm not going to try to weld them in or anything. I just need to get those done so when they paint the truck, that gets painted. This is just from the mud flap catching fire when I welded the bolts on it, so that'll wipe right off. But yeah, it's been a chore actually, but we're getting there. It's a slow but sure. Now I just need to do this other side, and that'll complete that piece of the project. So we're getting there. It's just going to be an all-day deal, I think. So a little more on this truck. You might notice that the tailgate is, except for a little bit of surface rust here and there, it's practically perfect. This truck had a canopy with a full door in the back, and so the tailgate wasn't on the truck. The tailgate and the bag with all the hardware was in the garden shed of this estate. So it hasn't seen any use. Neither has the bed floor. I've probably done more damage or scratches to the bed than there was in it when I got it. There's the pulling the mat out. And I'm debating today, I think I'm going to pull the rubber mat and not reinstall it, get the truck painted. I might take it in and get a spray on bed liner done, and then come over the rail. I do want to use the truck. The idea of this truck is keeping the miles off my Super Duty Power Stroke truck for fifth wheel hauling and stuff when we retire. But you know, the front of the bed is perfectly straight. You know, it's just been lightly used its whole life is all. So that's why I'm going to the effort on this, because it's certainly worth it. So I'm going to finish this side, and then maybe we'll take a run to the car wash and kind of wash this thing off a little bit, pressure wash that bumper good, come back with a aggressive wire wheel the rust off, prime and paint it, get it ready for paint shop. Okay, we're back to work. Check with you in a little bit. Well, we've been down to the car wash. We've got the truck all clean. We didn't scrub it, we just kind of blasted the stuff out of it. Look how nice the bed is on this thing. 1976. This thing ain't hauled nothing. I have wire brushed the bumper down, and I'm going to use this product. I've done a video on it before. It's called Rust Sergeant, and that is a rust converter. So the areas on the bumper that are bare rust or bare metal that are rusty, we're going to use this Rust Sergeant on it. I poured a little bit. It doesn't take much. It's about the consistency of a thick milk. And I'm just going to use a brush, and everywhere it is rust, we're going to put some of this. We're going to get it in other areas too, but I'm not going to purposely do this over the paint. It kind of smells like Elmer's glue. In fact, if you spilled it somewhere, you would pretty much think it was Elmer's glue. The only thing I'll advise is I've done a piece that had some rust on it, and I used this on the entire piece, and wasn't happy with the finish. So I'm only going to use it on the rust and areas around the rust. I'm not going to try to put it on the areas that aren't rusty. So let me finish this up, and then once this converts the rust, we'll mask this off and throw some Rust-Oleum primer on it, and then we'll paint it. Be right back. So here's what the bumper looks like after the Rust Sergeant has done its converting, turning all that rust into black paintable primer surface. Notice it really didn't do anything where the silver paint was still okay. So I've got a fan running on it just to speed its drying. We're going to have to leave it probably another 10 or 15 minutes or so before we can shoot some Rust-Oleum on it. Picked up a couple cans of black today. Oop, got a little more masking to do there. That'll be alright. Gonna get it painted anyway, right? So I think what I'm gonna do real quick is pull that hubcap. The center's pooched in. It was like that when I got it. Hubcaps are actually in really good shape. If you're familiar with these trucks, those hubcaps are getting A, hard to find, B, expensive. I bought a set for the 72 that I sold recently. because I took the wheels off of it for the step van. So I bought a set of 16-inch wheels and a set of hubcaps for a whole lot of money, and put it back to stock just like this one. So I just had these wheels powder coated. So we're going to take our time here to pop that cap off of there and not scratch nothing, including the cap. Yeah. Wow. I pushed these out before. They don't take a lot. It's gonna take more than that. Hear that? That's money. Nice. That's pretty good. Yep. That's as good as she's gonna get. She's out. I knew that would be easy. Ta-da! Easy fix. Now, what's the next thing? I guess we're checking things off the list pretty good. Let's think about this a little bit. Tomorrow I want to work on the carburetor. So we'll end the video of the get it ready for paint today. It's getting on to evening. Well, I need to paint the bumper. We'll get that done. I had some miscellaneous bolts that were stuck in holes. I got all those out. They could just, clean this up and leave the holes. Like I said, I'll probably have a spray on bed liner done on this truck anyway. It's just too nice not to protect it. I do also have a new seat upholstery and carpet for this. It's got such a nice interior in it, but I'm not a floor mat kind of guy. Those things tend not to breathe and they rust out floors, so that's coming out. So I think we'll just wait for that bumper to dry and we'll get some paint on it, and I might fiddle around a little bit to try to start painting those and just see how long that would take. Maybe that's a good evening project today. I'll check back with you shortly. Well, how do you think the bumper came out? I like it, and that's really what counts, isn't it? Yeah, it came out pretty good. Got 3 coats of Rust-Oleum on it. It is still very wet, but it's about 6 p.m. It is time to call it a day, and we'll just let this dry all night. I just wanted to spray it with Rust-Oleum. I have a vintage camper. This bumper will be used as a bumper. I need to free it up so that it goes in and out, because then I can lose the tailgate and have this bumper basically as a step to get up. Before today, those believe it or not, just the mud flaps were keeping it from being a draw out bumper as it would have left the factory. And I'm pretty sure this was actually done at the factory now that I look, because they're the brackets for the slide out bumper incorporate the factory Ford camper tie down. So I think they're all one unit. So I think these were put on, this bumper was put on at Ford. And again, the guy that ordered it as a camper package, the overloads and all, for obviously a big camper. So no, I'm real happy with it. Took a rusty old bumper and turned it into a nice black diamond plate. Had a little bumper thing that my wife picked up at a yard sale or something for me, and I stuck that in there. Just kind of whatever, and it looks good. So I'm gonna wrap this video up. Tomorrow I'm gonna work on the carburetor a little bit. I don't know if it's a video worthy or not. We'll figure it out. If there's anything I think someone could learn from that, I put a Holley Predator, is that what it was called? Carburetor on it. I'll have to remember what that carburetor was. And the transmission kickdown tube isn't long enough to reach, so there was the carburetor has the kickdown linkage on it, but you have to order separately a little extension for that kickdown rod. So I got the extension, and have to hook up the electric choke. This way these guys don't have to fight it at the paint shop to make this thing run, because otherwise you have to babysit the thing for a minute or two after he's fired up. So that will be tomorrow. So thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and we're gonna wrap this up, back it in for the night, let the bumper dry, and we'll hit her in the morning.